All right, what's up, guys? Round two, round one, if you caught it, was all about our next play mentality that we have in our program. Um, Not getting down after a turnover, but trying to get it back on the very next possession. Um, this is going to kind of embody that same next play mentality, but also kind of focus on perseverance, and then our E.P.M, which is every possession matters in our program. Just to kind of set the stage for you, set the scene for you. This is a game, a district game in which we played um, earlier in the year, uh, down by double digits. I know at one point in time we are down 13, 14 points. Can't remember what the largest deficit was, but we're down 10 here. Going to the third or going to the fourth quarter. Third quarter just ended. We're going to the fourth quarter. We're down 10. Fourth quarter is about to start, and just kind of want to highlight certain plays that were made here in this third quarter that helped us, or here in the fourth quarter that helped us along the road. Obviously, there are plays in the first, second, third quarter that led to us, being in this hole that we're in. But we'll save those for another day. Like I said, we're down 10. Fourth quarter is about to start. Go ahead and roll it. Okay, right out the bat, right out of the huddle, we turn it over and give up a layup when we go down 12. All right, so it's 45-57. This is against Side Springs. We're down. So not the ideal start to the fourth quarter. Put that up. Here we go. So this is kind of what we touched on yesterday. I believe it was Zay who got the ball stolen from him, just kind of playing with it in front of the defender. Right here, Dylan starts to play with it a little bit, but he's sizing this guy up, and then he just turns on the jets and goes. Right, that's what we say. If you can go by him, just go by him. Just go by the guy. He turns him twice, gets him going. It's a nice little dump off pass there, missed layup. But again, Dylan takes himself out of the play, and notice he gets himself right back into the play and just bullies this young man for an and one. It's a big bucket, right? Those are hustle points, just 50-50 balls like that. You're going to see a lot of that throughout this clip. Those are winning plays. Those are winning plays and just wanting it more. And I want you to watch right here on the rebound here because he misses the free throw. Rodney Johnson Jr. does the same thing, kicks out. So he gets a good offensive rebound. We kick it out. We're down 10 now after the missed free throw. That was perfect. So I'm going to back it up a little bit. Every day we work on, not every day, but a few times a week we work on dribble moves, basket attacks. We've got our 5 dribble moves. We hit guys with hezzies, in and out cross, just a regular crossover, between the legs cross. You'll see here just something to freeze the defender right at the 3-point line. That's exactly what Dylan does here. He's going downhill here, knowing that people have to run out at him. He's going to have options. He's going to get the ball to the middle of the floor, exactly where we want it to be. You'll see here Rod's wide open, right, as he starts to penetrate, because as he freezes this first defender right here, someone's got to help, right? Either Rod's man off the corner, right, off corner shooters, or this guy has to help uphill, and that's what ended up happening, and we hit the dump down. So Dylan freezes the defender just for a split second. Terrible closeout. Freezes him. This guy has to help uphill, and we get the dump down and one. All right, so just like that, after turning the ball over, we go down 12. We get 2 layups, 2 fouls, just off of good basketball plays. It's a 4 run. All right. Again, another missed free throw, but you'll see just the will to win, the will to want it. And Rodney gets a putback. 6-0 run just like that. And we cut the lead in half. We're down 6. down 4, force a timeout. All right, so offensive rebound, or a good strong move and a steal and a foul, and then 2 offensive rebounds off free throws, and then just really instinctive heads up play right there by Pimp to force a timeout. Right now, it's a whole new ball game. Right, whole new ball game. Crowd's into it. I got the sound off, but the crowd's into it. They're loud. The Glover family's loving it. Caleb and Monique, all right, they're loving it. Right. You notice the difference in the benches, right? And this is something that's a pet peeve of mine. I'll always tell my guys that you can walk into a gym. I can walk into a gym and not look at the score, um, or anything, and not know who's playing, but just look at the benches and look at the players' demeanors and their body language on the floor, and I can automatically tell who's up. I can automatically tell if it's a close game or if it's a blowout just by their body language, right? I'm a big body language guy, and your opponent reads into that. And so I always tell my team before every game, I tell them don't get too high, don't get too low. You've got to stay the course. But you can see the difference right here in the bench. Right, our bench is up. We're high fiving. We're shaking hands. They're coming here. You got one guy, kind of picking his team up, but everybody else is just kind of just standing there. Right, they're kind of shell shocked. Is what you want. So out of the timeout. Now we're flying around a little bit. Okay, now we're flying around defensively. We've got a little bit of momentum. Adrenaline's going. We're flying around. Guys who don't normally fly around like this are flying around trying to cause a turnover. And we cause a turnover. Right? So right here, we cause a turnover. And Dom, our shooter, comes right over to the bench to me. It's going to be a baseline out of bounds, and I handle our baseline out of bounds plays. He comes over to me, and you could tell in that last defensive possession he was feeling it because that's what I was referring to. Dom can defend when he wants to defend, but sometimes he just chooses not to. But Dom came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm feeling it." And so, when a player like that comes to me and tells me, "Hey, I'm feeling it. Give me the ball," I'm going to call his number. And so that's exactly what I did. I had called a play already, but he comes over here and tells me and kind of waves it off and tells me what to call. And so I changed the play. Right? You got to trust your players, right? Especially in moments like this. And this dude comes off of a screen, maybe a little bit of a legal screen there, but he still hit a very, very difficult shot. Right, the degree of difficulty there to get your body turned to even see the rim is amazing. But he does, and he works on that. Therefore, we let him shoot him in games. Right, and just like that's a 1-point game. Right. Here again, we're into it. Right, JD is playing really good on-ball defense. Dylan comes over to pinch and protect the paint after the guy picks up the ball. Forces a steal, and JD forces another timeout. Right, crowd's going crazy. Right, this is a totally different team than what we saw in the first, second, and third quarter. And it all started with just hustle plays. Right, it didn't even start on the defensive end because we came out and we turned the ball over to start the game, but it were all hustle plays, 50-50 plays. Just wanting it more than the other team. So that's a 14-2 run to start the quarter, and 12 straight points. We give up a bucket. Just scramble situation. Really good player. We let him get to the middle of the floor. Right, ideally, there we had him where we wanted him, over there in the corner. But we don't pinch. We don't get good ball pressure. We let him get to the middle of the floor, right, where that's where you can beat zones and trapping in the middle of the floor. He's a really good player, and he uses his length and athleticism just to muscle over the top, get a bucket, tie it up. Did a really good job of attacking the closeout there. Good middle penetration by JD. Still flying around defensively. We get on the ground, and right here, I mean, this is how you can tell that we're in. You don't see a single white jersey anywhere, but right here on the floor, picking Dom up and JD. Right, they get a tie up right here. They go to the ground. You know, good active defense. We're getting the traps. We're doing a good job. We're flying around. Rodney's on the midline here. Pimp's on the midline right here. Right, we're getting the traps. Ball goes down. Unfortunately, it's their ball, but everybody swarms to pick up the guys that are on the ground. Right, this is when we're at our best. Right, this is when we're a dangerous team. Force a good trap right there. Again, right, that's the trap that we didn't get to on the previous possession, and we gave up a layup, right, a straight line drive. Right, we finally get to the trap. Guys got nowhere to go but to throw this skip pass, and we're going to allow this skip pass because if we can't get from here to there, by the time this guy catches the ball, then we shouldn't be playing. Right, we're taking away out on the break, and we miss a three. I'm going to back this up a little bit because this is something that Dom and I work on. This is a little bit transitioned, right? As soon as we get this steal, right here, boom. JD is the one, right? So he typically brings the ball up the floor, but as I mentioned in the previous video, and as you can see, not very many people can stay in front of this guy, right? And so it's okay for him to go ahead and run the break, right? So he needs to go ahead and just take off and run this lane. Dom needs to be running on a dead sprint, running this lane, right? Because obviously JD is filling his lane. This is the side that Dom normally runs. Dom's just going to take off running this lane, which he does a good job, but he's not sprinting, right? And that's the difference between a layup or a bucket here. This guy's not sprinting. You got to sprint to put pressure on this guy too, right? Sprint to the rim. Now this guy has to make a decision. It turns into a 3-on-2, 2-on-1 situation, or a 3-on-1 situation, right? Another thing is, I think if Dom does sprint like he's supposed to, we probably get a layup, okay, out of this, because Dom, their priorities, the 2s and our 3s, are to sprint to the block and then out. So if he sprints like he's supposed to the block, right? And I see the spacing that's happening here, but if he sprints to the block, it's probably a layup because this guy's got to stop the ball, okay? And we just throw that thing over the top for a layup, right? If not, right, if he gets out and he sprints to the block here and then out, then he can get proper footwork coming back to the ball to catch this ball. As you see, when this pass is made, Dom is going away from the ball and toward the baseline, sideline area, right? So he's not really on balance. He got a really good look, right? And he just missed it, but he wasn't on balance, right? Those aren't shots that he takes. He normally takes shots coming back to the ball, and it resulted in a miss right there. Some hectic play right here. Hey, this is a really good strong drive. We work on this too every day or not every day, but every other day in practice. Right, Dylan catches. Probably could have swept that ball a little bit lower, but a good strong drive to attack the closeout and get to a spot. But got fouled because he knew he was beat, and Dylan goes to the line. All right, so as Dylan is at the line here, you'll see again really good instincts on free throw box out. Again, 50-50 balls and the will to win. Pay attention to this spinoff and watch Rodney as well. Right, both of them are in position to get this offensive rebound in case of a miss, and he does miss. Right, and Rodney's there to clean it up. Right, so that's 3 times already in this quarter that we've got 3 offensive rebounds off of free throws. That'll drive a coach crazy, an opposing coach crazy. But the spinoff was perfect for him to get position. Puts it up on the rim, just kind of missed it, but Rod was there for the cleanup. Right, it's big time. Right, big time plays. Those are winning plays. Vikes take a 5-point lead. Right here, shot goes up. This is another issue that we've got sometimes, right? Especially when we're not manned up. Shot goes up. We've got guys watching, right? We get good contest on this shot. Okay, Dylan comes over here. He gets a piece. Okay, and Dom's going to come right here and just stand. Right, so as he's standing, you can see Dylan's getting a piece of his guy, and he's getting him out of there, right? JD's standing behind the play as well, right? He's probably not going to get this offensive rebound, but you could at least be an option. We need all 5 guys crashing right here, right? Especially in this situation. We've come back and taken the lead. We're up 5. Hey, we need a stop, and we give up an offensive rebound. Okay, luckily, he makes up for not putting a body on this guy and getting the offensive rebound because he sends it, right? And it starts a break. All right, we didn't get anything out of that possession. We're going to fast forward a little bit to a different mark. Hey, right here, this is just an example of attacking the closeout. Right here. Shooter, right? One of the best shooters, probably the best shooter in the gym, one of the best shooters in our district, if not the best shooter in the district, right? You've got to make yourself an option, okay? And you've got to be able to do more than score, right? That's something that I've talked with Zach about, or with Dom about. That's something I've talked with in the past. Zach Nuttall, who's now at Sam Houston State, I've talked to him about that as well. Just in elevating and changing your game and elevating your game to become not just a good shooter, but a good scorer, right? Not just being able to catch and shoot, but being able to put the ball, on the deck and get what you want. Just picking your spots, and that's exactly what Dom does here. He's hit a couple of 3-point shots, so this guy runs at him hard, good hard closeout, and Dom just a quick one dribble and gets to his spot. There's not very much that anybody can do when they're closing out at you full steam, right? And you catch the ball and you just shot, fake, rip, and go and get to your spot, right? He's feeling it, right? He's feeling it. That's a good little one dribble pull up there. All right, but we're going to go ahead and fast forward. Okay, we've got a 6-point lead at 68-62. We've got a 6-point lead with 2 minutes to go, right? So right now, we've got segments in practice where we have stop, score, stop, just meaning all we need to do is stop this team, come down and score, and then get another stop and kind of build on that lead. And obviously, if we're able to do that and execute that, we win the game, right? So just as quick as we turn this game around, down 10 to now go up 6, right? It's a 23 point, upswing for us. We could easily give it back by taking plays off. right? Once again, okay, decent to come over and contest. As soon as that ball went there, should have already been on the midline, right? It's 2 passes away, so he should have been on the midline already, right? Especially now that the ball is way over here on this side of the floor, we should already be over there, right? But he does get there to contest, force a difficult shot. But this is what I'm talking about. This guy right here has got inside position on both of these guys. We've got a defender here standing, a defender here standing. Right? We're standing and watching. We're standing and watching. We give up an offensive rebound. Rodney goes straight up, and he just goes straight over the top of him. Right? 4-point game. Right? 4-point game. Right? We've got to back this thing up. Another thing is back this thing up. It's the wrong person inbounding the ball. Dom doesn't inbound the ball. Right? So it just goes back to doing your job. Every possession matters. Just do your job. Right? Let that ball, just drop the ball, leave the ball alone. You get out and you run your lane. Right? The 1 needs to get to where he needs to be. The 3 needs to get to where he needs to be. Our 5 is going to inbound the ball. Right? If you just drop the ball, that gives us a chance to set up. As you see, Dylan's running out. Ronnie's jogging out. He doesn't even know that the ball's been inbounded yet. Right? So we put guys in bad situations. Right? Dylan's running his lane. He's supposed to be stretching the floor. Right? Because the ball's opposite him. He's supposed to be stretching the floor, right? Which is exactly what he was doing. Ball comes, he doesn't know it's coming. And right there, he's got to stop on a dime and come and meet this pass, right? So that's kind of on both of them, right? That's on everybody, right? It's not just one person. It's not the person that passed the ball because he wasn't supposed to be in that situation in the first place, right? But this is all that anybody ever remembers and sees, right? This turnover is going to be charged to him. Right, but this is a team turnover, in my opinion, because we're not where we're supposed to be. Right, you got to stop on a dime, come back and meet that pass. Right, so just like that, we go from being down, up 6, good charge attempt, to up 2. Right, we're frustrated now. Okay, we're frustrated and we're in a hurry. We shouldn't be in a hurry. We're still up 2 with a minute and 41 to go. Right, so I've got a problem with this play on a couple of different levels right here. Right? You get to the cup, there's obviously a defender right there, right? What I would like is for this guy to come here and get to a jump stop and kick, right? This is our transition shooting, right? We get to the middle of the floor. It's a good slice to get the ball off of the sideline. He does a really good job of that. He gets the ball off the sideline, slices to the middle of the floor, boom. Right here, you got to get to a jump stop and make a decision, right? We've got a shooter over here in the corner that's wide open, and we've obviously got numbers. I don't know if Dylan shoots this ball if pitched to him, but he probably attacks the closeout just like he did on a possession earlier in the fourth quarter, right? He probably attacks the closeout and he gets a bucket, right? Instead, we're frustrated because it's been a 4-0 run in a matter of 5 seconds, and we come in and we throw something off the glass that's a fast break starter, right? Why take a shot that's going to put us right back on defense when we're not playing any defense? Doesn't make sense, right? We give up another layup, forces a timeout, okay? And now it's a tie game. Okay, it's a tie game. Right? This is the hardest part of coaching. One of the hardest parts. There's a lot of hard parts of coaching, but this is one of the hardest parts of coaching is the ebbs and flows of games, right? Just managing emotions of teenage boys, right? Not allowing them to get too high, not allowing them to get too low, right? Even, when we go on that run, when we went on that run and we go up 6 or whatever the case may be, and it forces a timeout, or we go on that run at the very beginning of the quarter that forced 2 timeouts. The guys are coming to the huddle and they're hyped, and that's good. It's a really good thing. We want you to be hyped, but you also have to realize that there's a lot of time left on the clock. Same thing in this situation, right? You can't come to the huddle with your head down, arguing and bickering. We can't spend 30 seconds if it's a 30-second timeout, or we can't spend 30 seconds of a full timeout trying to corral attitudes and everything else like that. We need to be focusing on the next play, right? The next play. What's the next play? What are we going to do next? That's what we need to be focusing on in this type of situation. And that's the hardest part of coaching, is trying to get guys refocused after giving up runs, and then also refocus after going on a run to finish the job, right? So here out of the timeouts, a minute 27 left. It's a tie game. You get the ball across half court. And the one thing you can't do, right, kind of talked about that in that first video where Dylan picked up this ball in this corner against Magnolia. You can't pick that ball up right there, right? If anything, we've got to be able to reverse this ball before we cross half court, and then try to beat the trap up the floor, okay, or keep your dribble alive, right, and try to center this ball. Okay, instead we pick up the ball in coffin corner, right? Trivia question: how many defenders are on JD right now? You said one. You're wrong, right? There are 3 defenders here. There's the midline. There's the sideline. He can't go back. He can't go to the sideline. That's out of bounds. That's back court, right? That's 1, 2, 3 defenders on JD right now, right? So this is making him easy to guard. He's already wasted his dribble. He's got 5 seconds now, right? Because back here, there's a 10-second count, right? Here, obviously, he's picked up the ball. He's being closely guarded. It's 5 seconds, right? So he's got to get rid of this ball quick, right? So that the defense is at an advantage right here, right? Because there are 3 defenders. We're really only 1 live human defender, right? Leaving all these guys, the same situation as earlier. He's 1 pass away. He's taking this away. This guy's doing a good job of taking away Rod in the middle. This pass from here to here, obviously you can't see Dylan. He's out of the picture, but he can't make that pass up the sideline. It's going to be a steal, right? And obviously this guy's perfect. He's perfect, right? If I play it again, I think he's going to take another step over. He's right on the midline, right? He's right on the midline where he's supposed to be. Because if we make this pass from here, from lane A all the way over here to lane C and up the court, if this guy cannot steal this ball, once again, he can't play. He shouldn't be on the floor, right? You can't play. You just can't play at this level if you cannot steal that ball, right? So they've played this perfectly, right? We played right into their hands, right? And he does take another step over and get right on the midline. It's perfect. Perfect positioning right there. He's right on the midline, taking away this pass. This guy's right here taking away this pass, and also he's taking away the dive, right? If Rodney decides that he wants to dive, he can take that away. So Rodney's being guarded by 2 guys right here. So we do force his pass up the sideline, and it ends up being a turnover. All right, 68-68 with a minute to go. They call a timeout to set some stuff up. We insert Zay right here, right? Zay, really good player. Instinctively, he's long, he's lanky, he's deceptively athletic. Just because he's not the fastest player on the floor, but his length causes a lot of issues for people when he's defending. He's hit several game winners, and he's made several game winning plays throughout his career. Brian High is a senior for us. He's going to graduate in May, but he his freshman year hit a game winner against Rudder in the back gym, and then last year. Playing for me on JV, he hit a game winner against Tomball Memorial right over here on the opposite side of the floor. And so in these situations, he's really good. So we're scrambling, they're wasting time, trying to get what they want. It's 40 seconds. And this here is one of the toughest calls I think I've ever seen. This is tough. All right, we're working hard. We go what I think is straight up and maybe even get a little bit of the ball, right? I think if Dylan goes straight up there, there's no call. But because he reached in, I still think he got a little bit of the ball. Referee on the baseline calls a late foul after it looked like we had secured a steal. And the Glovers are not liking it. And I wasn't either. It's all good, Caleb. No, Caleb's hot. Mo's hot too. I feel you. I feel you. Right, and they go to the free throw line. Knock down 2 free throws to go up 70-68. 33 seconds to go. 33 seconds to go. We call it timeout. Right. So our mastermind here, our head coach, Jonathan Hines, seriously, he's one of the best basketball minds I think I've ever been around. I've learned a lot about the game from him in terms of X's and O's. He's really good. So out of a timeout, we run a play that's going to look for a back door that's going to be covered, and then we're going to try to look to get a stagger screen, right? The guy who's always inbounding the ball is typically one of the most dangerous, but we're trying to get a good look for our shooter, right, coming off. We're trying to go for the win, right? We're not going for a tie. We're looking to go for the dagger here with about 30-something seconds left on the clock, a little under 30 seconds. Okay, so what you're going to see here is we come off, we get the ball inbounded, and we get into our look. Dylan flashes, the back door is taken away, right? And what we're supposed to get to here is our stagger, but you see that our guy here, 12, is lost, right? And he's supposed to be setting this first screen right here for Dom, right? And Zay's supposed to come clean that thing up about right here. And Zay does come clean it up, but the first initial screen wasn't set, so we never got to it. So you see there that Dom came off, right? Should have set that screen. Zay's coming to clean it up. Dylan does a good job of bouncing it out so that he can see Dom coming off of this screen, right? Zay comes to set the screen, but we've got 12 in the way, right? And luckily, he instinctively goes to the ball and just puts his head down and does what he does best. He made up for forgetting the play, misremembering the play there or whatever, and he ties the game at 70. It's about 13 seconds or so left, right? So big play. It was a broken play, but we were able to improvise and still get the bucket. We go for the tie, and this is something that I'll never forget. In the huddle, we're drawing, Hines is drawing something up, and this is a full timeout. And so Hines is asking the guys, or Hines draws something up and defensively, and has us kind of playing back, and then stopped and asked the guys, "What do y'all want to do? Do you want to go for the steal, or do you want to play it out and let them get a shot off, or whatever the case may be? Just play the possession out." And the guys said they wanted to go for the steal. And so, as a coach, to be able to trust your players again. Like I said earlier in the game, I had called a blob, and shooter came over to me and told me, "No, this is what I want to run. I'm feeling it." As a lot of coaches would say, "No, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I said." But here in our program, when we know our kids, and we listen to our kids. I think we've got a really good relationship with our kids, and so Hines scrapped it, and Hines drew up a defense that enabled us to kind of go for the steal. He knew that obviously going for a steal would leave us vulnerable back here. If we didn't get the steal because we're gambling so much up top trying to get a steal to go score, that we could give up a layup. And so we'll let it play out. All right, so they inbound the ball. We bring a little bit of pressure. Again, Pimp's one of the best on-ball defenders, right, as far as being active. He's got active hands. He's got really quick feet, right? He causes a deflection here that causes this guy to go down to the ground. And then Zay comes over. As I mentioned, he's made game-winning play after game-winning play throughout his career at Bryan High, and he gets a hand on the ball. Pimp comes up with it and throws it ahead to Dom, and Dom gets the game winner at the buzzer. So again, I'm gonna let it play out one more time. This time with sound. Let me see if the sound works. So there it is. 72-70 win for the Vikes. It was a big win for us then, especially, like I said early on in the season, we may not win that game. We may come back to force a tie, which we did, several times early in the season, being a young team, a younger team, and inexperienced team at the varsity level. There were several games in which we were up and blew a lead, or we were down and had to fight our way back into the game, and ended up not winning the game. Just kind of running out of gas, running out of time. So it's good at this point in the season, to kind of see the tide change for the Vikes. Whereas, like I said earlier in the season, when we do get a big lead, or when we do come back and we get a 5-6 point lead and a team comes back, we kind of go our separate ways. Everybody kind of takes it upon themselves to try to put the team on their back instead of just executing the game plan. But here we were able to put out some fires and huddles, which is, it's normal for teams. And we were able to respond in a positive way, and come up with a huge team win. So again, it's perseverance, and it's emphasis on, every play matters. You saw the way that we scratched and clawed to get back into the game, or off of dead ball plays, free throw breaks, getting offensive rebounds on free throws, causing deflections flying around defensively, right, that help create our offense and give guys that hit shots, and sometimes that don't even normally hit shots. You give them a little bit of adrenaline, a little bit of rush, and now they start knocking down shots, and it's a whole new ball game, right? Feeding off the energy of the crowd, obviously, and then feeding off, the other team kind of bickering, the coach getting upset, the players arguing amongst each other. That's what it's about. So, anyways, like I said, that's volume 2, all on perseverance. And the next video is going to be over execution, coming in the next few days. We are one.